Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
Alyeska Pipeline Service Company, fueling philanthropic programs and dedicated to creating educational and professional opportunities for Alaska Native people.
The National Weather Service.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Percy Dehne. This is your weather for November 30th, 2016. First, starting out tonight, our hazards. All the action is in the southwest, the southeast, actually southeast panhandle, correction on that. We have a winter storm warning in effect from midnight tonight through 9 a.m. Thursday near White Pass along the Klondike Highway. They're expecting 10 to 14 inches of snow. Also, we have a winter weather advisory for snow that's going to remain in effect from midnight tonight through 9 a.m. Thursday, and that's west of Chillicat River Bridge, and they're expecting 3 to 5 inches by midday Thursday, and then another 9 to 4 inches near Pleasant Camp Thursday night through Friday. And then also we have a high wind warning. Actually, a high wind watch from Sitka all the way down to Ketchikan. That's going to be for Wednesday, Thursday evening through Thursday night, late Thursday night. Look for southerly winds 30 to 40 miles per hour with gusts to 60 miles per hour. And that's going to be for the south and central coastal waters and inner channels. And then on the southwest Kuskokwim Bay, we have a wind chill advisory that remains in effect until noon Thursday. And look for wind chills ranging from 30 below to 45 below with the winds out of the northeast 10 to 25 miles per hour. Starting off with the satellite, putting it in the loop here. As you can see, we have got cyclonic circulation here just sitting south of Kodiak with moisture extreme into the northern coastal communities. And that's what's going to be affecting as it moves inland tomorrow, creating all the hazards, winter hazards there for the southeast panhandle. Farther north, there's a weak low pressure system. This starting to move into the Bering Strait there. Along that, you're going to have some scattered snow showers, and farther along the Arctic coastline, you'll have continued northerly flow and cooler temperatures there, and you'll have some scattered precipitation in that. Farther out west, we have this next strong occluded low pressure system that's going to be pushing in the western Aleutians and the western Bering. And you can see a large swath of moisture that's starting to stream into that section, and now continue to move eastward throughout the next couple of days into the Bering. Otherwise, most of the Bering has northerly flow, cooler temperatures coming down, and you'll have some scattered snow showers on and off, as well along the southwest territory. Moving the loop again, the satellite loop, you can see the northeasterly flow here. Dillingham was reporting some blowing snow conditions earlier, but continued, you can have on and off snow showers, scattered snow showers through this region and affecting the eastern Aleutians and the Alaska Peninsula. Today's weather. Here's that low pressure system I was talking about with a occluded front extending down into the eastern side of the Gulf. Strong southeasterly winds there. Light rain coming on shore, and then a wintry mix as you go farther north through Lynn Canal for right now. Otherwise, farther north, there's a weak stationary front extending through central Alaska, and that's bringing snow and scattered snow showers on the backside. Here's that weak low pressure system sitting over the north of the Bering, and again, the cooler temperatures moving down from the north, just feeding this low pressure system, and you're going to continue to get scattered snow showers. And then here's a weak low pressure system sitting over the western Aleutians that's just starting to fizzle out. Tonight's forecast, this low pressure system will move a little farther north and along northern coastal communities, and with that weak trough as it's starting to fall apart, that frontal system. But anyway, strong southeasterly flow here. You're going to have a continued rain and wintry mix farther north, Lynn Canal region. They're going through, put out that winter storm warning for snow. Otherwise, trailing stationary front extending up through the Alaska Range into the eastern Brooks Range. And that'll continue to have some light snow through there. You're going to have a dry slot through here, extending through just east of the Seward Peninsula, extending up to Dead Horse region. Otherwise, strong northeasterly flow coming off the Beaufort Sea. And that'll bring some scattered snow showers. In the Barren, you're going to have scattered snow showers with a weak trough pushes through, as well as that weak low that's just remains stationary and starting to fill. Thursday forecast, as you can see, southeast panhandle, again, continued southeasterly flow there with the strong gradients here. Those black lines are isobars, so the tighter they are together, that means real strong winds. Otherwise, plenty of moisture being pumped into the southeast panhandle, so watch out for the weather for tomorrow. Otherwise, a wintry mix at higher elevations and snow even higher. Farther north, the Anchorage Bowl, a wintry mix, extending up through the Mat-Su Valley and extending up into the Alaska Range and east of Fairbanks. You're going to have a weak stationary front, and you'll have some light snow through that region. Otherwise, on the backside of this, you're getting this cooler air, so northeasterly flow extended down through the Southwest Territory into the Bristol Bay region, and so you'll have scattered snow showers with that. Again, that weak low pressure system sitting over Seward Peninsula, and that's just going to fizzle out and fall apart, but otherwise you'll get continued scattered snow showers with that. And the Barren, that weak low pressure system is going to sit and fill, so you'll have continued troughs swinging around it and producing scattered snow showers. Then Friday's forecast, that low pressure system, cooler low, moves farther north near Yakutat with a occluded front that's pushed through. Otherwise, you'll have southwesterly winds. It'll be quite gusty along the southeast panhandle tomorrow with scattered rain showers. Then that stationary front's going to be draping down through Kodiak all the way along the Alaska Range, extending off into the just east of the Brooks Range. With that, you're going to have scattered snow showers and really strong gusty winds extended down through the Alaska Peninsula and through Kodiak. Out west, western Aleutians and the western Barren, you have that next strong occluded system starting to push in, strong southwesterly flow there, so a wintry mix starting to push in here there. Always still that weak low pressure system sitting in the central Barren that will continue to fall apart and produce some scattered snow showers. Temperatures as of 1 p.m. As you can see, not surprised, all the coolest temperatures are farther north. You had 38 coming in at Fort Yukon, actually minus 24 at Fort Yukon. Anaktuvuk Pass coming there at 38. Otherwise, it starts warming up a little bit when you have that southerly push over there with that weak low pressure system over here. Tin City came at 16. For the southeast, you had pretty much the warmest temperatures throughout the Alaska today. You had 41 at Klawock and 43 at Sitka. For 1 p.m., again, the temperatures at Barrow was 1 degrees at minus 13 coming in there at Dead Horse. Pretty much through the central interior, ranging anywhere from the mid minus 25 to mid upper minus 30s for that range. With this cooler air and the northerly flow, it's not surprising, just pumping this cool air down into the southwest lower Kuskokwim Valley. In the southeast panhandle, they're continuing to, again, 43 coming in at Sitka. You had 34 at Yakutat. Valdez had 23, and Anchorage came in at 29. Along the chain, again, modified temperatures, but pretty much in the mid-30s, 36 coming at Shemya. The Pribilofs, St. Matthew, St. George came at 24, 23. And along the chain, Cold Bay as well, 39 degrees, as well as Sandpoint at 39. Tonight's low temperatures, not surprising, the coolest are going to be through the north there with the cooler temperatures and the northerly flow coming in here. In the mid minus 25 range to minus 30s throughout the lower Kuskokwim Valley and upper Kuskokwim Valley. Slightly warmer as you get through the Anchorage area, through the Kenai Peninsula. They're going to be in the mid-20s. Mid-teens to lower 20s, that is. Otherwise, the Copper River Basin, cooler there, minus 10 degrees, minus 5. The southeast panhandle, again, they'll have the warmest temperatures. Again, 40 at Sitka and 37 at Klawock. Tomorrow's high temperatures, again, will be continued in the mid-20s throughout the Anchorage Bowl, Kenai Peninsula, and extending up into the Mat-Su Valley. The southeast panhandle will be the warmest with that southerly push, with that included a low pressure system pushing, all that warm air pushing to the southeast panhandle. So again, 45 degrees is going to be the high there for Sitka, 43 at Kloak, 40 coming in at Yakutat. Tomorrow's flying weather, you're going to have IFR to marginal VFR, again with that front that's sitting over the northern and southeast panhandle, so it's not surprising you have worse conditions right along the northern coastal communities, and spreading over, it spills over into the Alaska range. As well, you got this northerly flow producing scattered snow showers along the Alaska Peninsula and eastern peninsula. So farther north, you have that low pressure system sitting over the northern Bering, so you're going to have worse conditions there, and marginal VFR conditions near Wainwright. In the southeast, again with that front draping through this region, the worst conditions are in the inner passage, inner waters there. For the afternoon, I'll start, the low will start falling apart more. Conditions will improve to marginal VFR pretty much through the Chukchi Sea all the way extending down to the central to western Bering with the northerly flow there with scattered snow showers in the region. Otherwise, the worst conditions continue IFR to marginal VFR conditions along the southeast panhandle and northern coastal communities, extending over into the Copper River basins, the lower portions of that, as well as into the Anchorage Bowl. Tomorrow's flying conditions, AKwx VFR conditions, Adigan VFR conditions, Lake Clark and Merrill IFR to VFR, rainy IFR to marginal VFR, windy IFR conditions, Isabel IFR to marginal VFR, and then Mentasca VFR, and then Tanita MVFR to IFR, and then Portage IFR to marginal VFR, Chillicook and White IFR conditions. And tomorrow morning's freezing levels, not surprising, all that cooler air coming down from the north, your freezing level, your surface is well past at least the chain here. And it's near the surface here along northern coastal communities. It is higher, 2,000 to 4,000 as you get near the Dixon entrance. Again, with that strong southerly push of warmer air, it's not surprising you're going to have higher freezing levels in this region. Tomorrow's icing, you're going to have a light to occasional moderate. Again, with this frontal system that's pushing through the northern coastal communities here, extending over the southeast panhandle, they're going to be above 1,000 through the Anchorage Bowl, the Kenai, and extended above 2,000 with higher freezing levels over the southeast panhandle. And then down in Kodiak, above 1,000 through the Kodiak region. You go farther north through the Copper River Basin up into the just near Fairbanks, above 1,000 feet. Tomorrow's jet stream, strong northerly winds 30 knots, transitions southwesterly 40, but then digs again with northerly winds 120, and then a strong southwesterly push of 100 knots, increases to 190 as you get just south of the chain here. And that's pushing all that warm air from the North Pacific right into the southeast panhandle, and then it transitions to more westerly and northwesterly coming off the southeast panhandle. You do have a southerly jet streak here extending through just east of Dead Horse, extending north into the Arctic Ocean. Tomorrow's 9,000 foot winds. Again, you have these weak low pressure systems sitting over the western, northern Bering and the southwest Bristol Bay region. Again, they're going to be a 15 to 20 knots circulation around these systems. A little stronger low that's sitting just south of Kodiak, that strong vertically stacked occluded system that's pushing to the southeast panhandle. So you're going to have 45 knots there, then 15 on the backside. For the southeast, you're going to have strong southerly winds, 50 to 35 knots, pretty much south of the Dixon entrance. And then it gradually weakens as you get closer on shore. And then it's all southwesterly flow, 25 knots, and westerly 15 knots along the Arctic coastline. Tomorrow's 3,000 foot winds, again, same cyclonic circulation around the lows, 30 knots pretty much, 15 on the backside, southwesterly 30, 20 through the western Aleutians, and then southerly 40 to 25 knots going into the Gulf, and transitions to 10 knots southeasterly before westerly along the Arctic coastline. Tomorrow's ice turbulence below a light to occasional moderate, below 4,000 along the Brooks Range, extending to Dead Horse, and then through the along the Akan Mountains, extending up to the Ketchikan Mountains below 4,000, then along the chain below 4,000, and then also below 6,000 through the southeast panhandle with those strong winds. We'll be back after this with your marine forecast.
Now, once we've determined the where and the when and the who and the wind, we'll want to know what kind of weather we're looking at. And looking is the operative word because the next field we're going to be talking about is the visibility. So visibility is reported in statute miles and fractions, and there are some neat formatting features here that are really going to be helpful. First of all, when the visibility is reported in miles and fractions, there's a space between the whole number and the fraction, and that makes the presentation a whole lot clearer. Also, the letter group SM here is included to remind us that the visibility is reported in statute miles, and that also makes the visibility group easier to identify. So if you're looking for the visibility and you don't know where it is, look for that SM. It'll tell you that you can see miles, and it's actually statute miles, but it helps remind you that that's the visibility segment of the report. Now, visibility in the METAR report looks like this. This reads 1 1/2 mile visibility. Notice the statute miles. Notice we have that space there. It's very helpful. Now, in addition to the visibility report, we can also get runway visual range. Now, runway visual range looks like this. It's an actual instrument, and it reads the visibility along a specified runway. It's arrived at by shining a calibrated light. You can see this calibrated light going here from a tower along the runway to a receiver, which is about 250 to 500 feet away. Now, the intensity of the light that is received is converted into an RVR value, and that gives pilots a direct indication of visibility in feet on a specific runway in low visibility conditions. Now, let's take a look at the METAR report, and you can see an R tells you that this is an RVR report for runway 17 left, and you can see that the runway follows right after that R. It's 17 left, and it's 2,600 feet, and FT tells you that's feet, and the abbreviation FT reminds us that this is RVR, and it's reported in feet. So it all comes out looking just like that. By the way, RVRs lower or higher than the lowest or highest reportable values will have either an M or a P as the first character of the value field to indicate a value less than the minimum reportable value or more than the minimum reportable value. Let's take a look at what we're talking about here. Here we have RVR for runway 32L left is M 600 feet, and that means less than 600 feet. That M means minus, and in this field it means less than the reportable value. So this is a good time, by the way, for me to point out that the letter M used by itself in a METAR report always means minus or less than. It does not mean missing, because missing parameters in the METAR report really are missing. There's just nothing there at all. Let's talk about the weather. I love to talk about the weather. And for our purposes, weather is actually the stuff which is blowing around in or falling out of the sky. It's not clouds. That's sky condition. Weather is stuff like this, rain and fog. And let's take a look at the coding for the types of precipitation you'll find in a METAR. There are 9 types of precipitation in a METAR, and unfortunately, you're going to have to learn the new code for this. Now, I know it seems just as soon as you learn the code, the FAA changes it. I know it frustrates me, and my decoder ring has been out of service for years now. But don't worry, you will not need your decoder ring because most of these things are going to be pretty easy to remember, and we're going to make the rest real easy to remember with a few little tricks. Let's take a look at them. First of all, RA, that's easy. That stands for rain. DZ is drizzle, not dizzy. That's drizzle. SN is snow. PE is ice pellets. SG is snow grains. So far, so good, folks. IC is ice crystals. UP is unknown precipitation. Now, why in the world would you ever have unknown precipitation? Because you have an automated station that can't tell the difference. That's why. How about GR? Hail greater than 1/4 inch? Sure, that's going to be easy to remember, isn't it? Well, this is not derived from English. It's an abbreviation for the French word grêle, and that means hail. Now, you're going to have trouble remembering that because I would have trouble remembering that. Any person who speaks English is going to have trouble remembering that. So think of as GR as standing for granite rain. Because if you happen to be flying in conditions like this where there's hail, it's going to sound like granite anyway, so that's granite rain. We got another one. GS is small hail or snow pellets. Now, how are we going to remember that? Well, that's the French word grésil. And that stands for or means small hail. That's still hail. It's just a smaller variety. So you can think of this as granite small variety. C, nothing to it. Let's talk about obstructions to visibility, otherwise known as obscurations. Do you think that this qualifies as an obscuration? You bet it does. Eventually there will be ground down there, even an airport coming along, but this definitely qualifies as an obscuration. Well, there are 8 types of obstructions to visibility that may be reported. Let's take a look at them. First of all, FG stands for fog. That's visibility 1/2 mile or less. BR stands for mist. That's really visibility with fog more than 1/2 mile. Now, wait a minute. Why is there a distinction between really 2 types of fog? Well, it comes from the British, and we're talking about the famous London fog. We're not talking about an overcoat here. We're talking about the weather. Now, what it is, it seems the British don't think you have fog unless you can cut it with a knife. So they established a new name for what is known as wimpy fog or mist, and that's BR. Now, how do you remember these? Well, FG fog is pretty easy. There's nothing to that. But once again, you might suspect that BR comes from something other than English. Well, it does. It comes from the French word brume. There you go, BR. Now, how are you going to remember this? Is that going to be easy for someone that speaks English? No, I tell you it's not. So here's the way that we're going to remember this. Think of BR, or mist, being little teeny tiny droplets of baby rain. And so BR will stand for baby rain. Of course, it's not falling through the air. It's actually suspended. It's little teeny tiny droplets. It's fog droplets with visibility more than 1/2 mile. But remember, BR stands for baby rain, and that'll help you remember that's mist. Now let's take a look at another one. FU stands for smoke. Once again, that doesn't look English, so it comes from the French word fumée. And you can remember that with the English word fumes, because FU is fumes, that's smoke. That's easy. All right, HZ is haze, PY is spray. You can see it in the word spray there, PY. How are you going to remember that? Well, if you try and pronounce the letters PY real close together, you'll probably spray, and you'll create some spray there. So PY is spray. SA is sand, DU is dust, and VA is volcanic ash. So here we have it. That's what we need to remember.
Welcome back to your Alaska weather. Now starting off with the sea ice. Again, we're going to have the Arctic coastline is totally covered with ice. Again, with that northerly flow, is going to continue to fill the Chukchi and through the northern Bering, along the Norton Sound, all the way down to the Kuskokwim Bay region. With this northerly flow, the ice will start to pull away from the shore, but they'll have a brief opening, but again, they'll fill up with ice again with this cooler temperatures, as well as the northern Cook Inlet. You're going to have the ice in there. That'll continue to form with these cooler temperatures the next couple of days, so look for that to grow as well. Thursday's marine forecast for the southeast. Again, strong southerly winds in the inside waters, 40 knots, and then it transitions to northerly, 25 out of the north. The outside waters are going to be the strongest with that strong and cool low pressure system pushing up. So you're going to have southwesterly to southerly 50 knots, and then transitions to southeast as you get towards Yakutat and become more easterly. There will be some higher gusts along the southwest coastline, southeast coastline, that is, Panhandle, and look for isolated thunderstorms north of Sitka in that region. For Friday's marine forecast, southwesterly flow in the inside waters becoming southeasterly as you go farther north, and then southerly through Lynn Canal, and then northwesterly, northeasterly coming across Yakutat region, and then pretty much all west to southwest as you get farther down the chain, the southeast Panhandle, that is, with 50 knots just south of Sitka, and again higher gusts in these regions. And then for Thursday marine forecast for the south central, you're going to have easterly winds, and then southeasterly come across the eastern Kenai, and then northerly coming through the Barren Islands, northwesterly strong cold winds there coming across the Shelikof Strait, and all northerly as they increase to gale force coming through the Barren Islands. For Friday, continued strong northerly flow, 15 to 25 knots, and then northwesterly winds coming through the Barren Islands, and it's strongest through these gap winds right across the Kodiak Island and Shelikof Strait, 50 knots. On the outside waters or inside waters, you have coming off the eastern Kenai, northwesterly 30 knots, northerly through Prince William Sound, and then 55 coming across just east of the Kodiak Island region. And then for Thursday, Alaska Peninsula, you're going to have northerly gale force winds, heavy freezing spray in the Bristol Bay region. And then on the Pacific side, northwesterly 40 knots, northerly 40 knots through the Sand Point region. Friday's marine forecast, gale force, northwesterly winds pretty much dominantly on both the Bering and the Pacific side. Wave heights 14 to 13 highest on the North Pacific side. And then for the loosen change for Thursday, not surprisingly, northerly winds 35 knots. They start transitioning northwesterly farther along the chain, and then westerly from Shemya all the way to Adak, and northwesterly there south of Adak as well. For Friday, you're going to have gale force winds coming in here subtly near Adak, and then westerly rest of the way along the chain all the way to Unalaska. Again, the strongest winds are going to be subtly 45 knots with a strong occluded low pressure system that's going to be pushing up into this region. And then Thursday for the west coast, predominantly all northwest flow, small craft, freezing spray. You do have gale force winds. You get near just south of Nunavik Island there, and then northerly 25 knots St. Paul and St. George. Friday's marine forecast, pretty much all small craft northwesterly, northerly again through the Bristol Bay region, and northerly 25 St. Paul, St. George. Along the Arctic coastline for Thursday, southerly winds at 10 knots, 15 a barrel, and then northwesterly to westerly at 15 along the northwest coastline, and southeasterly pushing up through the Bering Strait. And then Friday's marine forecast, all northwesterly, 15 to 20 knots, and then westerly from east of Barrow. And then tomorrow's forecast, you got a low pressure system.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Support comes from the University of Alaska College Savings Plan, helping you and your child save for college every step of the way, from diapers to diploma. More information at uacollegesavings.com.